to that point, I wanted to get your take on this. We've been having Phil Simms on each week and talking about all the different draft prospects. And Maggie was with us last week filling in for Bart. And she asked Phil for the quarterback who would be the comp to Ty Simpson. And this is what Phil had to say.
He has a really, really good NFL arm, and he's very athletic. He runs around, he makes plays, he's tough as hell, all that. And I was trying to think of who is he in the NFL, and I came up with Bo Nix. That's about the only, I thought, the closest I could get. You know, guys that move around well, he's a little better athlete, I think, moving than Bo Nix is. But I think Bo Nix is just, he plays big, throws it down the field, and those are things that work well, I think, with Ty Simpson.
If you told me the Jets were getting Bo Nix, I would run to the podium. I would have to do it. And I'm just wondering, is that not good enough for you if Ty Simpson is not what you want to do at 16?
I'm confused on, I guess, his take, because he says Ty reminds him of Bo Nix, but I'm not getting Sean Payton to go with Bo Nix. And I just wonder how much of Bo Nix's success is the fact that Sean Payton said, that's my guy, I want him. People thought he was nuts to take him as high as he did 2 years ago. He was not supposed to be, middle of the first round pick. There was some thought he'd go in round 2. And Sean Payton said, nope, this is my guy. Like, if the Jets had that type of conviction with Ty Simpson, if Frank Reich is all in on Ty Simpson the way that Sean Payton was on Bo Nix, all right, I understand it. You better be right, but I would understand it. If it's just the same type of player, I don't know if that's good enough, because I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Jets coaching staff putting Ty Simpson in the best environment to be successful. Plus, Bo Nix had a record amount of collegiate starts. Ty Simpson has started for 1 year. He's 15 total games. So maybe playing style, Phil sees the similarities, but experience-wise, it's not even close.
All right, there are two things there that are interesting to me. Number one, yes, 15 starts, but he's 23 years old. He's not like 15 starts when Sam Darnold came in and was a starter for 1 year and he was 20, or even Mark Sanchez. It's not like that. So he's been around, certainly, a program for a while longer. I don't know if I should take anything out of that or not, because I am the guy that normally wants to see the 30 starts before I would draft him. But that gives me a little bit more pause. Secondly, if that's the case, what you are telling me is you don't want a quarterback at all this year. You don't want them to take a quarterback at all because, quite frankly, you don't believe in anything going on with the coaching staff.
So I don't want them to take a quarterback in the first round. I really don't want them to trade back in and take a quarterback. It would only be Ty in my mind that this scenario would exist at the end of the first round. I'm only okay with it if they're like, look, he's there at 33. We already have an extra second-round pick. We want to get someone else in the pipeline, because if it doesn't work out with the second-round pick, or Geno's actually playing well and we don't get a chance to really see much of Ty this year, it doesn't prohibit you from then taking another swing at that position with your 3 first-round picks, maybe a new coaching staff in 2027. If you invest the 16th overall pick in Ty Simpson, when is he playing? How many games does he actually play? By the time he plays, what does he look like? Do you have enough of a sample size to form an evaluation to determine whether or not you move forward with him, or you have to draft someone else in all likelihood, better quarterback class? I just think it complicates the entire Jet future if you take him at 16, whereas it doesn't do that as much if you do it at 33. There's less pressure, and it doesn't behoove you from potentially, again, getting your long-term guy in a better class.
So you're thinking about the long-term guy you're thinking about again next year. You're thinking about losing again next year.
Are they going to win this year with this team? With Geno Smith? Despite what Aaron Glenn said last week about Geno being the guy to take them to the promised land, Geno Smith's 36. He's thrown 32 interceptions the last 2 years combined. This is a guy who's declining. Do I think he's better than what we saw in Vegas last year? Yes. I think the Jets have some actual pieces in place. The O-line can protect him. They got some weapons. They can add to it in this draft. I don't think Geno's horrible, but the defense is going to be brand new. Glenn's taking over play calling. We'll see what that means. I mean, how many games are the Jets realistically going to win? Their win total is 6.5. What's the point in taking Ty Simpson now if the coach is on the hot seat trying to prove whether or not he should be here?
All of this is pointing me to believing that you think this is another 4-win season.
It could be.
It could.
If I'm betting my life on it.
Do you want it to be? Here's
I
what
want
I'm
the Jets to be
fascinated by,
horrible,
Jake.
or surprise everyone.
Here's what I'm fascinated by. We're going on 15 years.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps saying, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. And then we get to all this, and the way things are kind of stacked up, well, I'm out on the coach already. Tank this year. We'll see you next year. Mm-hmm. I'm already willing to throw away another season, and I have no belief whatsoever that Geno is the guy that is going to help you win 9 games. Okay? I don't see that. But is Geno the guy? Can Geno get you to 6 or 7? Like, at what point does an interesting season actually become something to me that I value, as opposed to knowing I'm going into November and December and, oh, God, I'm going to see Cook at quarterback. And like, I have no reason to watch the game. Like, when does that take over for me? Because, and I'm not living it as a Jet fan, okay? But at some point, don't you have to believe that that becomes a bigger issue?
Well, I just think at this point, what is the best thing for the Jet future? And Jet fans, most of them don't believe in this head coach right now. Most of them don't believe Ty Simpson.
But does that mean it's the right thing for the future? They give the head coach 1 year and out?
Well, I mean, I would have made a change. I would have no problem. I mean, 8 of the last 10 coaches were one and done. The replacement eventually made the playoffs. I mean, I feel like I'm relitigating my arguments with Mike T. Like, at the end of the day, he's here. So Aaron Glenn's doing everything to try and win. Darren Muji got players that fit what Glenn wants to do schematically. The second pick in the draft's going to, in all likelihood, be Arvell Reese or David Bailey. They're going to add a premium defensive player to his defense. He gets a chance to prove whether or not he could coach this team up. He got Frank Reich now as his play caller. So we'll see. They're not trying to lose, but as a Jet fan, just looking at the long-term future, I'd rather them use that 16th pick on a receiver that could help Geno and whoever the quarterback is beyond 2026, or an offensive lineman, another defensive player, rather than take Ty Simpson with a coaching staff that is on the hot seat that might not give Ty Simpson the best development that he apparently needs to actually be successful. Like, say Geno starts the year. When are you actually seeing Ty Simpson play? What does he look like? Doesn't that not muddy the waters of potentially making this job ultra attractive? You get to pick your quarterback, 3 first-round picks, a new coaching staff that could come in with a roster that actually has some pieces on it. Like, the Jet fan just wants a real plan we could believe in. We know the team is not going to be very good in all likelihood this year, but we believe in the GM. I think Darren Muji's done a decent job so far. So it's that conundrum of the coach is trying to save his job and win, but I think a lot of Jet fans are like, just get us to 2027 because we don't see it.
How many times have you had over the last 15 years plans that you could believe in at the time? Like, you believed in Joe Douglas's plan at the time. I would argue that Joe Douglas was still a pretty good GM with one massive exception, and that was whiffing him a quarterback.
And he hired Robert Saleh, and that ultimately didn't work.
It did not work. What I would look at, though, and look back, how many times did I feel that way? So what does feeling that way actually do for me right now, as opposed to seeing some positive results?
Is there a way to see positive results without taking Ty Simpson? See, I'd argue if you're Aaron Glenn, you don't want Ty Simpson. You want them to take Mekhi Levin at 16. You want them to take Jordan Tyson if the injury stuff is the reason why a top 5 to 8 player is actually there at 16. You want a player that is going to help your quarterback that you came out and said could take us to the promised land. You want to help that guy play well enough so you're here for 2027. So you actually get to see the benefit of these 3 first-round picks and have an opportunity to build your team and get your quarterback. Now, if you love Ty, if the entire organization, Chris, is in love with Ty Simpson, that's their guy from ownership down. Everyone's on board. Hey, we're willing to bet on a guy who'd be an extreme outlier with 15 career starts, that he's going to be the guy to turn our franchise around. Fine, but I don't want to hear from Darren Muji a year from now if Glenn's gone and then all of a sudden Ty Simpson didn't play well. Well, you know, we had four first-round picks over the next couple of years, so we were just taking our chance. It was just a dart throw. You can't just burn the 16th pick on a chance at quarterback.
I understand not just burning it, but I don't have that much of a problem considering how much they have and how much deeper the draft is supposed to be next year. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Am I taking Ty Simpson over Mekhi Lemon? I'm not. I love Mekhi Lemon. Am I taking him over Tyson? I'm not. One of those receivers? Absolutely not. If those receivers are gone, I'm not taking Omar Cooper over Ty Simpson. I would absolutely take Simpson. Like, your point is right if the right guys are still there. But I don't think it's a lock that all the right guys are still going to be there.
What do you like about Simpson, though? Like, what makes him worth the 16th pick? Like, the first 7 to 8 games, awesome. But it's a guy who's a little undersized. He's 6'1".
Yep.
He dealt with injuries in college. Again, the biggest knock, and rightfully so, is just the historical context on a guy with 15 career starts
And
going
also,
in the first round.
the other thing to really put into context as well is their offensive line was terrible in the second half of the year.
Correct. And
Terrible.
it just, there's things to like about him. That's why I think if you take him in the second round, I would understand it. Son of a coach, coming from Alabama. Seems like he's really great at processing, which typically that's the biggest thing for young quarterbacks to have a shot at the next level.
And decision-making from what I can gather.
Like, I got to speak with him at the Combine. Seems like a great kid. Like, there's a lot of things to like about Ty, which is why I'm willing to take a chance on him in the second round. But given where the Jets are at right now, the uncertainty with this coaching staff beyond this year, you could get a player who could be an awesome player for you for 5 years at wide receiver or any of these other positions if it works out. I think it's too big of a risk when you're in a unique spot. The Jets aren't like other teams where they only get one first-round pick every year. You have 3 next year, and what everyone is saying is going to be a way better class. We never know for sure, but it's going to be better than this year's class where there's only one consensus guy that people think unanimously is going to go in the first round.
Then there's that part of it. Now, I don't think this will happen again the way it did. Last year, this time, we were saying the same thing.
Correct.
Next year was going to be an amazing quarterback class, especially right now. Next year's draft overall is supposed to be infinitely deeper than this year's draft by far at every position. Right now, though, I understand the Simpson thing if you feel good enough because there's the idea of the bird in the hand, okay? Those top 3 receivers, let's just say, off the board. Then you've got receivers. It's an exceptionally deep receiver draft. Jordan Reed told us last week that he thinks that there are probably 41 to 42 draftable receivers this year, which is a massive number. So with all of that being the case, I think if you have somebody that you can at least give a decent chance to be the quarterback now, as opposed to hoping things fall your way next year. If I don't lose enough to be the number 1 pick, I doesn't matter how many picks I have, I'm not going to control my own destiny.
Well, you got to hope there's more than one quarterback, which I do think there will be. You know, we're a couple of years removed from 1, 2, and 3 in the draft, all being quarterbacks. And there's risk with that. There's no doubt. You could be like the Giants were a couple of years ago trying to move up to get Drake May and Jane Daniels, and the teams in front of them were like, nah, we're good. We need quarterbacks. So there's a risk that could happen to the Jets even with 3 first-round picks. But at the end of the day, what's the bigger risk? Burning the 16th pick on Ty Simpson or just hoping that you could build the team for one more year, let Aaron Glenn prove whether or not he could be this team's coach, and then you get your guy in 2027. They're trying to win. I don't think Jet fans think this team's going to be very good, but the Jets internally aren't trying to tank the season. The Raiders weren't trying to tank the season at the beginning. They didn't hire Pete Carroll at 73 years old to be the worst team in the league. Sometimes things just happen. And if Glenn has not shown any improvement as a head coach, it's not going to matter. They started 0-7 when they were trying to win with Sauce and Quinnen in the first place last season. So I think they're better on paper, but are they good enough to actually, win that 9 or 10 games you referenced earlier? Probably not, but they're going to try.
Also wanted to play this. You over the weekend had Connor Hughes on from SNY about the Jets' interest in Ty Simpson in round 1.
As we stand here today, no, I don't think that Ty Simpson's an option. But look, the draft picture begins to really take shape over these next 2 or 3 weeks. At one point it was, the Giants really seemed like they like J.J. McCarthy, and then a week before the draft, it's like, no, they're locked in on Malik Neighbors. That's who they're taking if they can't trade up for Drake May. And there was obviously, is it Shador? Is it whatever? And obviously be like, no, the Giants pick's going to be Jackson Dart. It's the same thing with the Jets.
Listen, I don't think, as you have mentioned, the Jets don't have a 3rd-round pick this year. I don't agree with Mike Tannenbaum on the idea that you would give up both seconds to move up.
Just take him at 16 if you love him that much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't expect the Jets to take him. I've heard all the things. I've heard he crushed his Jets interview, and they really liked him, but that everybody knows what that could be as well. Because when you go and you look at who's behind him, how many people are really going to make the move after that? Because the rest of the draft, those are all guys who are behind you at 16 who have done well the previous year and thus are unlikely to take a quarterback.
There's a couple teams after the Jets at 16 I could see maybe drafting Ty Simpson. Your team, Pittsburgh at 21, which would be fascinating because the draft again is in Pittsburgh.
From what I hear, I don't think that'll happen.
I'd be a little surprised, but okay, Pittsburgh, potential option. Cleveland has Jacksonville's pick 24. If they like Ty Simpson, 24 could be a possible landing spot for him. And then you look at the Dolphins pick. I know they just signed Malik Willis, but say they really like Ty Simpson. You had another
Oh,
quarterback.
I don't think
in
the
there.
Dolphins are out of the waters of drafting a quarterback high.
They have Denver's pick, which is 30, and now in this first round. Maybe they do it there. And then, we mentioned the Jets trading back into round 1. Arizona's sitting there at 34. They need a
Dolphins
quarterback.
have 3 first-round picks right now?
Miami has
Or 2.
2. They have their own, which is 11,
Right.
and then they have the pick they got in the Jalen Waddle trade.
Which is 30, you said?
Pick 30, correct.
Okay. Look at this guy. Michael K's here.
Man of the people.
Yankee boy. Yankee boy with his little, we'll get into his little food review yesterday. Once again, intellectual property theft is a crime. Ooh, let me give Yankee Stadium food a 10 out of 10 Ks or whatever he's doing.
I feel like I need to be a referee between you two.
No, he knows I love him. It's
Getting
just he
awkward.
disappoints me sometimes. I feel like he's my son in a lot of ways. Yeah, even though you're older than me. 800-919-3776.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.